When most Americans imagine Poland, they go through the progression of stereotypical ideas: pierogi, vodka, beautiful women, and old images of the former Jewish community. I've always been curious about this aspect of Poland's history. It's certainly shaped what outsiders think about the country, and perhaps even what the country is today. I wondered, what is left of Poland's Jewish community? What does Polish identity mean to the people inside of that community, as well as many other general questions about the religion? To answer these questions, I was honored by the opportunity to interview Poland's chief rabbi, Michael Schudrich.
I'm Michael Schudrich, Chief Rabbi of Poland, originally from New York, but I've been working here more or less since March of 1990. I came here the first time to visit in 1973. So my perspective, and I was here a half a dozen times in the 70s and early 80s, so it's a rather long period of time, far longer than your life. But huge changes. I would say that when I first came to Poland, what was overwhelming is that the color gray. Everything was gray. 1973, 76, 77, 78, it was gray. Almost hopeless. And then this great miracle happened of solidarity, which led to the greatest miracle of democracy. And then, in terms of my own work, the major change that I've seen is that the Jewish community, that's why I'm here. September 1st, 1939, World War II begins. At that point, there are 3.5 million Jews living in Poland, the heart, the soul of the Ashkenazi world. 5 years later, by the end of 1944, 90% of those Jews no longer alive, having been murdered by Germans and accomplices. That statement is so horrible. Most people don't think, well, what happened to the survivors? How many? 10% survived. It's 350,000 Jews in Poland after the war. More Jews in Poland in 1946 than in the UK today, just to give some perspective. If you want to feel safe saying the statement, I am a Jew, it makes good sense to leave post-Holocaust, Soviet-occupied communist Poland. And so Jews leave. And those who remain, many of them give up their Jewish identity. Stay Jewish, leave communist Poland, stay in communist Poland, stop being Jewish. A couple of 100,000 leave, some tens of thousands stay, of which many of them give up their Jewish identity to the extent they often don't even tell their children, their grandchildren. The deep, dark family secret stays a secret 50 years, 39 to 89, 1989, the great miracle of democracy. And all of a sudden, for the first time in 50 years, these not-so-young survivors are confronted with the question, is it safe enough today to tell my children, grandchildren, friends, relatives, colleagues, neighbors that I'm really Jewish? And since 1989, thousands and thousands, and perhaps it's even tens of thousands of Poles have discovered that they have Jewish roots.
I read that you estimate there are between 30 and 50,000 people in Poland who have not discovered their Jewish identity. And that is your mission to help them realize their, I don't know if faith would be the correct term to use here.
So let me clarify.
Okay.
I said I believe there are 30 to 50,000 Poles with one Jewish parent who feel a connection with their Jewish past. I have no idea how many more are out there. Actually, quite the opposite of what you said is that I don't believe in going out there and like knocking on people's door and saying, hey, do you know your grandma's Jewish? I have always had the sense of creating an open atmosphere so when people discover they have a place to go.
Okay.
It's what I like to call passive outreach, which is kind of the ultimate oxymoron. In other words, being there open for people when they're ready to come. The Jewish faith is not evangelical because we believe that every human being has the obligation to believe in God. How that belief takes place is that individual's decision. Those born Jewish, we believe that being Jewish is our best way to God. It doesn't have to be the only way to God.
This synagogue we featured in a different video, and I read that it is actually one of the few buildings that survived the demolition of Warsaw. I also read that you were meant to be on an airplane with the Polish president and many government members who all passed away in a crash. From a Jewish perspective, do you believe that it's the protection of God giving you this guidance, looking after you, the same way that a Christian would?
There are great similarities. There's always nuances. God remains involved on a daily basis, on a second every second basis, meaning every second of your life, God is involved. Why the late President Kaczynski of blessed memory, decided to go on a Saturday to Katyn, which meant I couldn't fly with them. I lost a lot of friends on that flight, so it's very difficult for me to think about it.
I read a lot that Jewish people from Ukraine are leaving en masse to Israel, also a similar situation in France. Do you believe that something similar will occur here in Poland in the near future?
Okay. I mean, the situation in the Ukraine is very specific. It's called Russian invasion.
Of course.
The specific situation in France is unfortunately a clash between the Jewish community and Islamic terrorists. Those two factors don't exist in Poland. Hopefully neither one. The first one's more likely than the second, but hopefully neither one will take place, and therefore the factors that are leading to Jewish exodus from the Ukraine and France, there's no reason to objectively estimate that will have impact on Poland.
So would you say that Poland is a good country for Jewish people to live?
I'd say today Poland is a wonderful country for Jews to live in. You have to face a difficult past, a horrible tragedy of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, that the Germans did put on this land. That's a challenge for some people, and therefore not the place for some people. But it's also a place where Jewish life is reemerging when everyone thought it was dead, and that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think that Poles are actually far more tolerant than their reputation would lead them to be. The image that the media portrays about Poles is that of actually anti-Semitic.
First of all, why is there the image of Polish anti-Semitism? That has to do with because before the war there was significant anti-Semitism. What has happened since the late 1930s? Many things. But most importantly is the papacy and the teachings of John Paul II, the late Polish Pope, who did more in the last 2,000 years to effectively fight anti-Semitism than anyone else. Really changed the Catholic Church and changed Poland even more. So that is the major factor that impacting on changing many Poles, just the way of thinking about Jews. It's really thanks to John Paul II.
Beautiful. Tell me a little bit about your home region of Paducah. I had visited some abandoned Jewish sites there, cemeteries, synagogues, or at least buildings that at one time were synagogues. Are you doing anything to reinvigorate Jewish culture in Paducah?
In 1989, we're starting from zero, or maybe from minus. So the conscious decision, first we're going to strengthen Jewish life, Jewish culture, in the places where the Jews still live. Podkarpacie, unfortunately, has very, very few Jews left. And just to describe the challenge of the cemeteries, in 1939, at the outbreak of the war, there were about 1,400 cemeteries serving the needs of 3.5 million Jews. In 2016, where we have some tens of thousands of Jews, we have about 1,400 cemeteries to take care of. That imbalance is overwhelming.
Absolutely.
As the Talmud says, well, we're not free from doing everything, but we're neither free from just doing nothing. So we're doing what we can, step by step. But it will take decades, if not longer, to really begin to make a difference.
Do you think your ancestors identified as Poles? I mean, this is really what I'm curious about. All those people who are not here today. We visited actually many of the places that they left behind. Beautiful buildings, amazing culture. Mm-hmm. Did they identify as Poles? They were here for what, 800 years? 1,000 years?
My family, I don't know how long.
The community.
Right, yeah. Right. I would think that some of them did feel connected and some didn't. And I think it's true for almost everybody. Some people feel that connection and some people don't. Mm-hmm. And sometimes what happens is what the person who lived here doesn't feel it so strongly, but their grandchildren do. And everyone has a right to feel that connection, and we're here to help them feel the connection if they want.
Okay. I have one more maybe unusual question. I watched a few interviews with you, and it really seemed to me that the journalists, they were looking to make a little bit of a media, I don't know if I can use the term in a synagogue, please forgive me for lack of a better expression, media shitstorm, out of different situations that, kosher killing of animals and things like that, and they were really brutalizing you. Why do you put yourself in a situation with journalists where that might happen?
Speaking to a journalist is like going on a date. You never know how it's going to turn out. You really don't know what the journalist is, how it's going to be. And sometimes, not that one should ever have a brutal date, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But some of them do turn out that way, and you still go on to more dates.
Okay. Okay, Rabbi, thank you so much for your time. It was an honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.